We're going to be discussing some AEW drama. I think Tony Khan made the right choice. Guys, we're going to talk a little bit more about some WWE stuff as well. Don't forget, we're giving away this championship belt at 100,000 subscribers, so go ahead and click subscribe today. All right, guys, I want to kick things off talking about Karrion Kross. He is somebody that we have been, a big fan of on this channel. Obviously, he hasn't really been doing much as of late, and it sounds like there's actually a plan for Karrion Kross. It's not just thrown away, right? Karrion Kross's debut and return and everything that they did, it wasn't for no reason. It's just a matter of when they plan on doing it. BWE posted on his Twitter account today that Karrion Kross's story was actually planned for after SummerSlam, and then it got postponed again for Crown Jewel. However, now it's been postponed again. He doesn't have further info. If it resumes, he will tease it for all of us fans. But Karrion Kross is expected to get a big push, and this is something that's kind of been made public for a while now. It just hasn't happened yet. And I don't know, it seems to me that WWE has kind of pushed off a lot of stuff, but they eventually get back to it, which we saw that with the JD McDonough situation joining the Judgment Day. They teased it, and then they kind of went away from it, and then eventually they brought him on TV doing the stuff with Judgment Day. And that's just one example. With Karrion Kross, I like this guy. I really do. And I feel like there's a lot of potential with him on the main roster. There was a point in time where him and Scarlett were doing different interviews and different promos, but in different areas of the arena, and the lighting and everything just looked so great. I think they have a great entrance. I think they have a great package. I think there's a lot of potential there. And I want to see WWE actually push Karrion Kross. But I want to see them kind of do it in the same way that they've been pushing Bronson Reed. If you look at Bronson Reed, his push on Raw is actually one that makes a lot of sense. People got to get familiar with them. So you put them in big time matches, and next thing you know, they start getting reactions. And you do it slowly but surely. You get there. Once you get there, eventually it gets people the opportunity to become a fan. And I think with Karrion Kross, the thing that's kind of been a little bit more problematic, when WWE first put him on the main roster, Vince McMahon put him in that stupid gladiator mask or whatever the hell it was, and it just completely took away from his presentation. And when he came back, he did some great stuff with Drew McIntyre. He did some stuff here and there. He had his feud with Shinsuke and Rey Mysterio, and those are those little things that matter, right? You put him in some small feuds. It doesn't have to be big. You don't have to push him to the top right away. But then obviously he's kind of been taken off television, and it's, for fans, it's kind of concerning because you look at this guy and you think, okay, well, is it a backstage issue? That doesn't appear to be the case. I think WWE is just being very patient and a little bit more methodical than they have been in the past, which I have nothing against that. But at some point, I would like to, in fact, see Karrion Kross actually go far in WWE, and how they get there, that's up to them. But hopefully they make it entertaining. Logan Paul has announced that he is shockingly retired. Yeah, he retired from boxing. While speaking on Fox Business, he says he thinks he's done with boxing. He says, I think I'm retired. I've done enough going fully undefeated. I think I'm going to be a wrestler now. No more money in boxing. Every company is going broke. Full-time wrestler. I beat Rey Mysterio fair and square for the U.S. Championship. It feels great. It was a dominant performance. Some frog splashes, some punches. It feels good. And this is actually really interesting because if you guys watch this channel, I've spoken a lot about Logan Paul and how I think Logan Paul is a phenomenal WWE superstar. I think he naturally gets it. The little things, right? He could do the great moves and stuff, but the little things matter, and Logan Paul does those little things exceptionally well. Then he beat Dylan Dennis and called out Rey Mysterio. And that right there was a big moment for the WWE because Logan Paul used that platform to show people that he is actually committed to the WWE. Then he comes to the WWE and defeats Rey Mysterio in a hell of a match. And it was great booking. And then they even teased Santos Escobar potentially becoming a heel. So there was a lot of good that came from Logan Paul versus Rey Mysterio. And this is one of those things where I'm actually excited to see what he can do as a full-time WWE wrestler. And I'm glad to see that Logan Paul made the full-time switch. At the end of the day, I don't think he's a good boxer. And I don't think he is going to be a big influence boxer on the level of his brother or KSI. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? Logan Paul has something that I think could be much more greater than influencing and boxing and stuff like that. So look, have your personal opinions towards him. And you know, obviously, I don't think he's a good boxer. I don't care for the stuff that's being said or done outside of WWE. But when it comes to what he actually does in the ring, I have a lot of respect for that. And it's nice to see celebrities actually getting involved in wrestling and respecting it enough to actually put in the work and do it well. It's a little bit different. Maybe he's there to collect a check, but it doesn't look like it because he actually looks like he's enjoying himself, and it actually looks like he's good at this, and it actually looks like he dedicated himself to this. Now imagine him being full-time with the WWE. I think there's a lot of great that could come from it. And look, this might piss people off. Honestly, I know this might be a hot take or whatever you guys want to call it, but with Logan Paul retiring from boxing and he's pretty much making it known that he's a WWE guy now, I would be willing, if he is committed full-time, I would be willing to bet that WWE eventually puts a world championship belt on him down the line. I'm not saying this year, I'm not saying next year, but I'm saying if he is really committed to this, I can see it happening. And the crazy thing is, I don't think people would be pissed off. I don't know if it's really that much of a hot take because I think people actually look at him and respect that he's good at it. Guys, Tony Khan has a lot of people talking, and this is not really Tony Khan's fault, actually. Unfortunately, this seems to be more of a thing that has to do with Metalik. You guys might remember Metalik. He was in WWE, more notable, I should say, from the 205 Live stuff. But according to Fightful Select, there was an original match that was planned for October 27th, Rampage. And basically, during this match, it was supposed to be Commander, Metalik, Penta, and Lince Dorado. Dorado was actually pulled from the match due to his ties with CMLL. And then, essentially, there was like a whole bunch of stuff with CMLL not allowed to be on the same card where there's like AAA talent and stuff like that. That kind of became a thing. And that match was ultimately changed to a three-way. However, this was changed to a three-way. Metalik did speak up and say that he didn't want to take another loss since he was not under a full-time deal. Sources tell the publication that AEW understood where Metalik was coming from and replaced the match with Kyle Fletcher versus Konosuke Takeshita. There is no word on there being any heat on Metalik, but it did sound like things based on the original report have been blown out of proportion. There's been a lot of talk about Metalik not wanting to take a pinfall from Commander. There has been a lot of talk that Metalik is kind of dictating his career in AEW, and the opposition online is basically saying Tony Khan needs to have control of, you know, these guys who are on the lower card. And I don't think that's a fair criticism to AEW, unfortunately. One, Metalik is not full-time with AEW, and therefore, if you're not full-time with the company, you should not be getting wins in the company. And I've always strongly believed that. I think that's one of the biggest risks of booking people who aren't contracted to the company. In regards to heat and stuff like that, I think a lot of the heat is coming from fans on social media because, you know, as the report suggests, it doesn't sound like there's any issues there. I think Tony Khan understood what was going on. He had to make the change, and they kind of left it at that. Unfortunately, that's just kind of the way the wrestling business works. If there's one thing I would say, I would just maybe have Tony Khan not book, you know, these guys who aren't fully contracted to them, because you could avoid this, right? And obviously, the more you can avoid it, the better it is for the company. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I appreciate you guys for watching. Don't forget, I'm giving away this championship belt at 100,000 subscribers.